All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to today's webinar, Launching Your Path, the Statewide Scholarship Programs and Resources Overview. My name is Erica Luce, and I'm the manager of the Adult Education section within the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity Workforce Development. And our office is so grateful to our partnership with the Michigan College Access Network and the Michigan Department of Lifelong Education, Advancement and Potential, or MyLEAP, the Office of 60 by 30, and My Student Aid, whom you're going to be able to hear from shortly, to give an overview of lots of these programs and scholarship resources. And the purpose of the webinar is really to make sure that our adult learners in the state of Michigan have the information, tools, and resources that you need to help you take that next step in your educational journey. There have been many recent investments, and we want to make sure that you have that latest and greatest information. We are also very honored to be joined today by two former adult education students who will be sharing their stories with you at the end of the presentation. So we should have plenty of time for questions at the end of the presentation. Please feel free to enter any questions you may have as we're going through in the chat, and we'll address those at the end of the session. We also are recording the webinar today, and so we will make sure that you have that available to you at the end and access to the slide presentation. So thank you so much for joining us. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Patrick Brown from the Michigan College Access Network. Take it away,
Hi,
Patrick.
Erica. Thank you so much for that introduction, and welcome everyone to this important webinar. We hope that you are having a wonderful day today and would like to share and kick off this important webinar with a little bit of an overview. What we'd like to share today is some of the wonderful opportunities for college success for adult learners here in Michigan. And as Erica said, we've got some wonderful adult learner success stories to share with you. The bulk of this information and presentation today will be geared towards you as adult learners to review some of the financial aid scholarship programs across Michigan. And whether you're a current student in an adult education program in our state, or someone who is thinking about returning back to college and returning back to educational and training opportunities, we want you to really take this time to think about setting the path forward for yourself and the opportunities that are available. What's really exciting is that Michigan has dedicated a lot of resources to helping you as adult learners be successful, and many of the higher institution partners across our state are implementing successful programs and initiatives to really help students be successful. And so we hope you take this information, you'll think about it, and perhaps you'll take that next step to launch your path. So I'd like to start first for our listeners to really think about you as an adult learner. As an adult learner, you have so many unique opportunities, and you also have maybe some challenges in life, some obligations or external obligations like work, family obligations, maybe you're a caregiver for someone else. And it's really important as an adult learner that you think about the opportunities that might be ahead of you. And so I'd like you just to either personally or within the chat, you can even respond. Just think about, do you have an educational and career goal you'd like to achieve? Take a moment and reflect about that. And hopefully that this presentation will help you think about what are the resources that might be available that you can have access to take advantage of those to reach that educational or career goal. It's really important to think about what goals you'd like to have. And what today's presentation will do is help you think about the timeframes, the affordability, and the resources available to reach that goal. So as Erica said, I am from the Michigan College Access Network. We're a statewide organization focused on helping to lift up Michigan's goal called 60 by 30, increasing the percentage of Michigan residents with a degree or post-secondary certificate to 60% by 2030. That's where the 60 by 30 comes from. We do that with many different partners, some of whom are on the call today, to really think about how can we create more opportunities for learners of every age to take advantage of college here in Michigan. My department specifically is focused on adult learners and non-traditional pathway learners, those that maybe are finishing their high school diploma or equivalency and want to accelerate and pursue additional opportunities, or maybe adult learners who started out in college and for whatever reason had to stop out and then would like to re-engage and reconnect, if you will, back into that college going experience. You are all a part of this goal of 60 by 30 and included in this goal. This goal is really important for our state. And as some of the presenters today will outline, they'll talk about kind of the specific reasons for what the benefits are for our state having a goal of 60 by 30 and including adult learners. A little bit about, again, the Michigan College Access Network. Our focus and our emphasis is really among low-income students, first-generation college-going students, and students of color. And particularly within adult learner demographics, this is really important that we are creating opportunities to accelerate those learners into college-going experiences. At MCAN, we have 7 key indicators for college success that we examine and we kind of view through the lens. And as an adult learner, I'd encourage you to think about this in the lens of your life. Part of going to college is thinking about the experience you will have, the preparedness that you have, the ability to goal set, and also the resources that will be available to you. And so we look through the lens of a successful college experience through these 7 key indicators. Academic readiness. Is an adult learner receiving a quality education, and will they be able to be successful once they go on to college? We think about it through the lens of affordability. Is college affordable for someone? Is it affordable for someone who's working, maybe balancing family obligations, and who is going to be making a significant investment in their education by going to college? We think about it in terms of enrollment. We want to increase the number of adults, as I said, who are going on to college and experiencing those opportunities. But we also see it through the lens of persistence and completion. What are the resources that are available for adult learners to be successful? Things like community resources around childcare, affordability, and access. Transportation is important. How do you balance learning as well as working and some of the obligations that you have? What are the educational tools and resources like technology or internet accessibility and capability that are needed to be a successful adult learner? And then certainly we think about attainment. All of our efforts here in Michigan and what we'll share today for you as adult learners are focused on getting adults and students of every age to graduate in a timely fashion, graduate with a quality degree and credential, and then obviously transition into successful employment or other future educational opportunities. And at the core of all of this, we recognize that we're changing systems and cultures, and that can take some time. Sometimes it takes a little bit to convince folks that this is the right step for them, that there's a successful pathway for adult learners to be successful, and also that there's going to be on the other side an opportunity for you to grow and to maintain and be successful in your life, and to be able to see great growth over that time. And so I'd encourage you as an adult learner to think about approaching today's webinar, as well as if you're looking or considering other educational career opportunities, think about it through this lens. Are you prepared? What are the resources that are available to me to make education and training opportunities affordable? How is my institution or the place that I'm looking at going, thinking about inviting me and including me and helping me persist and be able to complete my program? And what is the culture there? Do I feel accepted? Do I feel that the resources there are available for me to be successful? We hope that you'll experience that today and that you'll be able to say yes to many of these questions and be on a really great footing as you consider future career and educational opportunities. It's also really important to view the work that we talked today around education, equity, and empowerment. As we talk today, we're going to be considering certificates and degrees beyond high school as a prerequisite for success in Michigan's knowledge-based economy. It's also important that we think about equity. We at MCAN and the partners on this call believe that it's really important to afford this college opportunity to individuals, regardless of race, regardless of gender, regardless of socioeconomic status or background, and really emphasize that low-income students, first-generation college-going students, and students of color are invited to this conversation. And hopefully, as an adult learner, you'll leave here feeling empowered, more empowered in your decision making, in your knowledge about the landscape of college here in Michigan, and with a few resources to take your next step if you choose to do so. I think it's always important to frame a little bit of this conversation about college access and success in data. It's really key and important as you think about opportunities for employment, training, and what it means to live, work, and play here in Michigan. And this is an important statistic we want you to know. By 2031, nearly 70% of all jobs in Michigan will require education beyond high school. That includes 35% with some college education or associate's degree, and 34% will require a bachelor's degree or higher. This is really significant as you think about additional opportunities to upskill and to advance your degree for your career. You can see that same information broken down here in a pie graph. I think it's really important that we see where those important key metrics are, and that some college, no degree, associate's degree, or bachelor's degree really make up the wide majority of positions and jobs for the future. It's also, I think, important to examine employment change by skill level. Now, this graph can be very overwhelming, but I think there are a couple of key takeaways I want you to look at. On the right-hand side, you'll see the types of degrees. Bachelor's degree are higher in orange, associate's degree in some college in gray, high school or less in the black there. And if you look at the graph itself on the bottom, you'll see low skill occupational jobs, middle skill occupational jobs, and high skill occupational jobs. As you move across that graph, the higher skilled occupational jobs certainly will have a higher wage earning over the lifetime of a person that is employed in that position. And in Michigan and nationally, you'll see a trend is happening in that the increase in the high school occupational jobs dramatically is increasing, but requiring a bachelor's degree or higher in those positions, in those occupations. In the middle skill occupational jobs, you'll see that that same trend is there. But more importantly, you'll see that the positions that are requiring a high school diploma or equivalency or less are drastically being reduced. And then in the low skill occupational sector, you'll see some modest increases in all of those. What does this mean? It supports the data on the previous slide that says that our higher skilled occupational jobs are increasing dramatically and going to require a higher level of education for an individual. And some of our middle school skill occupational jobs are going to be doing the same. And so if you're in a position where you're completing your high school diploma equivalency, or you've already earned that credential, you're in a good space. You're working towards really economic sustainability and viability for you or for your loved ones, your families, those individuals that you live with. And we would, at this point, be encouraging you to think about taking that next step, taking the next step in pursuing additional education, because the numbers tell us that if you're interested in pursuing a higher skilled job or a high paying wage employment opportunity, additional education will be needed in order to be considered for those positions. What does college also mean in terms of educational outcomes and earnings? You can see here is another chart here looking at median weekly earnings versus the unemployment rate. This is really important because it shows that with increased educational opportunities, earnings go up, which I think is very important. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see that the unemployment rate also decreases for positions where a higher educational degree is required. What does this mean? It means that those positions that are less than a high school diploma or a high school diploma, while they are viable and really important positions, they also run the risk of having a higher unemployment rate. We've seen that in economic downturns like during the COVID pandemic, or even now as inflation remains unusually high or inconsistent with regular kind of economic times. Those are the positions where they have a higher or greater risk of positions being lost, changed, or individuals being in those positions being displaced. But as you go down the scale, you will see that with increased education and with increased degree completion, those positions become more stable. There's more options available. There's more opportunities to advance or to move into different positions. And those wage earnings also are higher as well. Here's also really important, I think, as it relates to Michigan and the consideration for you as an adult learner in the future. Michigan each year releases a report called Michigan's Hot 50 Job Outlooks. The latest one is through the year 2032, and it looks at the economic trends of our state. What are the hot or top jobs that are available? What are employers looking for in terms of types of positions and types of educational or training needed to fill those positions? And what does our economy say within the state of Michigan about what positions need to be filled across the state? And overwhelmingly, you can see that 90% or 45 of Michigan's hot 50 jobs require some sort of learning past high school, a degree or certificate. 84% of those jobs and 84% of those 90 require a bachelor's degree or more. So this is really critical and important as we consider and think about opportunities for growth in our jobs, as we think about economic advancement and career advancement within our positions. And so I invite you today as an adult learner to be thinking about all of these things. If you're in a current program, congratulations and wonderful job. Keep working hard. And I hope that this presentation will inspire you to advance and to finish that credential. If you've recently completed your high school diploma or equivalency, congratulations as well. And we'd invite you to also think about how can you be engaged in this conversation and enter or reconnect into the college going space within our state. It's really critical. We all want to make Michigan a wonderful place to live and to work, and you're a part of this conversation. And so I wanted to lay that background for you as you consider and think about opportunities that are ahead for you, for your families and those you care about, and the types of career opportunities that are available to you within our state, and what are the types of educational outcomes that are needed as well. With that, I would like to actually turn it over to my friend Steve, who is actually going to dive in and talk about some of the financial aid scholarships that are available through the Michigan Achievement Scholarship, particularly for adult learners. So take it away, Steve.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I appreciate taking time to just learn more about the opportunities that we have here. So, as you heard, my name is Steve. I am part of the outreach team for My Student Aid. We are a division of the MyLeap section of the state government, and we are responsible for administering and connecting Michigan students and families to our programs. I'm here to highlight a couple things for us. Namely the Michigan Achievement Scholarship. It is Michigan's largest investment in higher education to date, and the aim is to give you either full or partial funding combined with your other financial aid programs to help get you through debt free. Ideally, we want to reduce or eliminate loan debt for all students. The nice thing about this scholarship is that it supports both the skills training side of things as well as other multiple pathways for different college pursuits and post-secondary pursuits. So we're going to go into the details about the program next. Key thing is how do I get access to them? How am I eligible for the money? Number one, you have to be a Michigan resident and a U.S. citizen or have some kind of equivalency like a permanent resident status or you're an approved refugee. These are critical for all of our programs across the board. You do need to graduate from a Michigan high school or its equivalent, such as earning a GED in the year 2023 or after. So if you're completing your credential this year in the class of 2025, you're part of the third class to be considered for this new award. Now, what's unique about this is that students have to enroll full time in their undergraduate program in order to use this particular scholarship, which means you have to have a minimum of 12 credits, which translates to anywhere between 3 to 5 classes. Um, excuse me, if you are in the class of 2025, we do allow one gap year so that you are able to maybe take some time for life, maybe a career exploration. But as long as you get enrolled by fall 2026, we're still going to honor this scholarship for you. Now, one other key thing about our eligibility is you cannot be in default on any federal student loans, meaning like if you attended, maybe you looked at going to like Grand Rapids Community College for a little bit and you used student loans to pay for that, you left before you completed your program and then didn't pay on those loans, that would put you in a default status. So if that is your circumstance, do know that you need to clear that up before you would be considered for this particular scholarship. Now, there are three different pathways to the Michigan Achievement, and we support all students doing all sorts of different things. First one is the Community College Guarantee. It is regardless of income, we're going to help you cover the cost of community college. So it allows for flexibility for you to start at your local CC or maybe even a tribal college. We'll help support you getting your gen eds taken care of, or even the pursuit of a certificate or an associate's degree program so that you can directly enter the workforce. Now, you do need to have a FAFSA for this to connect to your college's financial aid. There's no separate application for the Community College Guarantee. What happens is that we will assign the funds to the first Michigan school listed on the FAFSA. So if you decided one school versus the other, you'll just have to contact our office so we can make sure the correct school is listed. Again, you'd have to be full-time at a participating Michigan community or tribal college within 15 months of graduation. So I said a gap year, it's like a gap year and a season. So again, fall 2026 will be the last semester to enroll by in order to be considered for this award. All high school graduates are eligible regardless of family income. I'm going to say that again. You could make billions of dollars and we will still honor this scholarship for you to pursue a community college either program or to take care of those general education credits. Now, after that, we have some more details about the program because it's a little bit finicky. So I do see somebody asked in the chat if it's like the Michigan Reconnect program. It's very, very similar. It's just not really related to age restrictions. So this one is more for whether you graduated from the class of 23 or beyond. And the ability to pay for community college in full is new as of this year. So we keep expanding this program. Now, one of the things about this program is it covers the in-district rate at the community college or tribal college, which means that we will pay if you are a local to that community college in full. However, if I am going to a school outside of my district, and I'm going to specify folks that live in places like Holland or Howell, pretty big communities, but unfortunately no community college in that area. We are going to cover the in-district rate. Students will still be responsible for the out-of-district rate. And I have an example of that coming up. However, students that are using community college guarantee and pursuing their, degree in their education at a community college, if they're eligible for a Pell Grant of any amount, we're going to send in a bonus additional $1,000 to those students to help with like books, travel costs, maybe parking passes, and things of that nature. You heard me talk about that in-district, out-of-district idea. This is where that example comes into play. So say I'm a student that lives in Holland, Michigan. I want to explore some options at Grand Rapids Community College. Even though there is a GRCC campus in Holland, those students are still considered out of district. So in the example here, and just, take this with we just use these numbers for just easily, understanding. The numbers could be a little bit different. That student for an out-of-district rate might be getting charged $150. The in-district rate, so a student that maybe like lives in Grand Rapids and what this scholarship will pay for is going to be $100, which means that that student in this circumstance would be responsible for that difference of $50 per credit. Now, again, this is going to vary between different schools. If you live in an out-of-district area, I highly encourage you to shop around at the different community colleges. And if you can register for those courses and take them online or through correspondence, we'll still honor this scholarship as long as you're enrolled in a total of 12 credits or more. So, if you are in dual enrollment, if you were in an early middle college program and you already have some credits or a degree under your belt, the nice thing about this award is that it will still allow for a second degree or certificate. So, if you were interested in furthering or coupling your education, or maybe just shifting gears completely, we're going to be able to honor this for you. You do have to have a high school diploma from the state of Michigan, or some kind of equivalency, again, like the GED, and then just graduate after the class of 2023. So, again, if you're currently looking at graduating this year, you're still in consideration. Now, there are a couple other paths that we talked about, like if you're thinking about maybe going to a 4-year school. Regardless if it's public or private, if your FAFSA result shows a student aid index of 30,000 or less, you would qualify for the 4-year portion of this award. SAI has replaced that language of estimated family contribution, or EFC. So this is not income level, this is the end result of the FAFSA. So we do take income into account when we calculate FAFSA, but it's also like taxes paid, number of students in the household. Um, there's a lot of different factors. So we won't know exactly what that SAI is until that FAFSA is done, which is why you see it in that second bullet point. There's no separate application for this. We just need to have that FAFSA done to evaluate and then connect it to your school. Again, you do have to be enrolled at least full time in 12 credits at a participating 4-year school in order to gain access to the award. And speaking of the award, we can talk about the amount that you can look to receive. Should be about 5,500 per year towards the cost of attendance, and this does start freshman year for students. It's good for up to 5 years as students pursue their bachelor's degree for a total of $27,500. Now, if a student were to use 2 years of the community college guarantee and then transfer to a 4-year school, they would have 3 years of eligibility left. This 5 years does include every aspect of the award. Now, if I'm a student looking at going maybe outside of the college, right? Maybe I want to go into the trades. We do have an option for students going into the career training fields. This is the only pathway that does not require the FAFSA. So again, you do not have to do the FAFSA to get part of the career training portion of the award. So still have that graduation piece where you have to finish after the class of 2023. So again, class 25, you're in good running for this. You can receive up to $2,000 per year, up to 2 years in an industry recognized certificate. And this may be things like phlebotomy, welding, truck driving. We have over 500 providers listed on our website that you can explore and enroll in with those programs. So if you are interested in pursuing this portion of the scholarship, we do have eligible training providers listed on our website. And that website should be coming up shortly. Unless my screen froze. There it is. So michigan.gov/career training is going to be where you'll find all of those different career providers. Again, no FAFSA is required. But there is a separate scholarship available on our website. It's the MySSG student portal. You can let us know that you're interested in this by applying through that website after January 1st of this coming year. After you complete that application and you're enrolled in an approved training provider, you can still use the Michigan Achievement Scholarship pathways if you're looking at going into community college or a 4-year school afterwards. But definitely take a look at that website to explore the different opportunities. So, more details and resources are available through our office. You can find information about this particular scholarship at michigan.gov/achievement. We also have a toolkit for those working with students that has different publications like the flyer that you see here, language on how to kind of advise students and how this could work and how to apply using FAFSA. And we also have more programs that are available to students across the state. So I heard some folks mention Reconnect. That's going to be something that's available on our website where you can do some more exploration about what's available to you. I'm going to take a quick peek at the chat before I hand it back to you, Patrick, because it looks like there's a couple questions I might be able to sneak in an answer here before the end. Um, Mandy McDonald asked about in-district students. It's not just for in-district students, but that's the rate that we're going to cover through this financial aid program. So those students are still eligible. They're just going to have a little bit of a bill to be responsible for, assuming no other financial aid is available to that student. Looks like yeah, so Martha asked about completing her program soon. You will still be eligible based on when you finish your high school equivalency. So if you're finished in 2025, you'll be eligible. We'll just consider you until fall 2026. Now, if you're not going to get finished until 2026, that's still fine. We're likely going to have this in place for next year. We're just going to have you pushed out to 2027 for your last opportunity to enroll. And looks like the last question I have on here is, can you be in a four-year college and still use funds for a trade? Theoretically, yes. You would just want to coordinate with our office so that we could get that taken care of and get rolling for you. Full-time, any semester, summer or otherwise, is always 12 credits. It's a common misconception, but 12 credits is the minimum for full-time, any semester, fall, spring, or summer. I think that's all the questions that came through during my little part. So, Patrick, I'm going to send it back to you. I'm going to be here for questions at the end. And again, I appreciate everybody's time.
Thanks, Steve. That was so helpful and such a great overview. I'd like to now turn it over to my colleague, Michelle Cyrus, who will talk about the work of the Office of 60 by 30 and another scholarship program available called Michigan Reconnect.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Steve. As Patrick said, my name is Michelle Cyrus. I'm the Student Success Strategy Manager in the Office of 60 by 30, and I'm thrilled that you all have joined us this afternoon. We are excited to share all this great information with you. And so, but the Office of 60 by 30 was created by Governor Whitmer in 2019. And it was to address, it started in 2020, actually, during COVID, to be able to support those individuals that were essential workers that worked during the pandemic. And it started out as Futures for Frontliners. And the purpose of that, as Patrick has talked about earlier on in his presentation, is 60% of the population in Michigan that have some type of post-secondary credential, be that degree in or certificated programs by 2030. And so there was a couple studies done a while ago, some surveys, and Michiganders kind of like what they thought about the importance of having a degree. And we found that only 26.5 individuals indicated that it was important to have a degree to land a successful job in Michigan. And so with that, 27.5% of those same voters, excuse me, 27.5% of those same voters felt like a four-year degree was worth the money, with 69% of voters saying that high school diploma or certificate or getting a trade is the minimum of what people needed in Michigan to be successful. And Patrick earlier shared his statistics on the percentage. 69% of all Michiganders have to have some type of post-secondary attainment. And so with Michigan Reconnect, we want to make sure that we can support people in this area of getting their degree or certificates. And so Michigan's current attainment goal, when it was first started when the governor was having conversations in 2019 and into 2020, we were at about 45%. We're currently at 51.1%. So we're making strides towards that 60%. And again, this just shows that when you look at all the states, where the percentages are for those states, and again, reiterating of our 6% gain at 51.1%, and we're really excited about this and the accomplishments that we've made so far for Michiganders to be able to increase their education. And continue, Patrick. So you ask yourself, why reconnect? And so the purpose of Reconnect is to increase adult attainment. So for individuals to get their post-secondary degree in or certificates. It also closes the skills gap, and it's prosperous prosperity in the state of Michigan. It increases not only the economy for Michigan, but also prosperity in increasing the individuals' income gaps. It changes intergenerationally. It makes a difference in individuals and their families attending school, and also, again, stressing one's earning potential. With Michigan Reconnect offers tuition free for in-district. You heard Steve talk about in-district earlier. And so it's free tuition, mandatory fees, and contact hours for in-district, and deeply discounted pathways for students completing their associates in or certificates outside of their district. So like Steve said, just note that if you are attending outside of your district, that there will be some cost associated with that. But in talking about that, we have navigators that can assist with that. Next slide, Patrick. And so to be eligible for Michigan Reconnect, right now until December 31st, 2024 at 11:59 p.m., you can be ages 21 to 24. You must be a resident for at least a year in Michigan. You must have a high school diploma, high school equivalency, GED, or a certificate of completion. And most importantly, you cannot have earned an associate's or a bachelor's. And you must complete the FAFSA. The difference between what Steve was saying about if you have federal student loans that can't be in default, with Michigan Reconnect, you can have loans in default. We will work with that. There is no requirement that you have to be up to date on your federal loans. You can still use Michigan Reconnect. But the key piece here is you must complete your FAFSA. And again, I want to reiterate that for 21 to 24-year-olds, you have until December 31st at 11:59 p.m. to complete the Michigan Reconnect application. But the beauty of that is you have into the summer of 2025 to enroll. So I tell people, if you want to start in fall 25, take a class in summer 25, even if it's just one class. Take that class, is kind of dip your toe in the water so you can be prepared to take classes in fall 25 with Michigan Reconnect covering it. But I want to stress, you must be enrolled by summer of 2025. And as of 1 January, Michigan Reconnect will go back to age 25. So you'll be ages 25 plus to utilize the program as of 1 January 2025. And then I want to talk about our great navigators. We have 13 navigators on our team, and we have 3 for expansion. And expansion, again, is the 21 to 24-year-olds. We have 3 navigators that work with the folks that are 21 to 24 in the expansion. And then we have 10 navigators across the state that they support regular Michigan Reconnect. And so we did a significant investment with MCAN, which Patrick spoke earlier. He's with MCAN, with the College Completion Corps. We invested $780,000 in that. And that allowed us to have completion coaches throughout some of the colleges that also support the work that our navigators are doing. And navigators have the ability to help you with the college going process. They can help you complete any documents. They can help you manage and or complete your financial aid application. You can explore degree plans with them. They can identify in-demand jobs, which Patrick also mentioned a little bit earlier. And they can connect you with community resources and services. They are like the first responders for you. With Michigan Reconnect, you will receive correspondence from the navigator that will support you based on the community college that you will be attending. They can help you from point A to point B. They can connect you throughout with individuals at the community college. They can be an advocate for you. So again, they will be your first line of contact once you complete the Michigan Reconnect application. Next slide. And so, as Steve has said, we also have marketing materials for those who want to share information about Michigan Reconnect. You can scan that QR code and log into the Champion Toolkit. We can also mail flyers to you if you would like to have some flyers on hand to be able to share for any of those providers that might be online, or any of the individuals who might want to share Michigan Reconnect with your family, friends, or in your community or your churches. We can also send some flyers to you as well. And we can also come out and do presentations if you would like us to talk to people that's in your community. And so here, I really want to stress that Michigan Reconnect is here to close the skills gap. And it's which is the single greatest threat to the success of businesses and our state's prosperity. And also to help people skill, reskill, and upskill. We are laser focused on building a healthy and more competitive economy here in our state, and also to help Michiganders advance their prosperity. So again, it increases families, businesses, and communities. And with that, next slide, please, Patrick. And Patrick will play a video here as you get to learn and see about all the amazing folks that have graduated with Michigan Reconnect. We don't have any sound, Patrick. Thank you all for your patience as we work through the technology. While you're doing that, Patrick, I'll check the chat. Thank you so much, Patrick. I always get so choked up by that because it's so inspirational. And now we are excited that we have two speakers today that are going to be sharing their student stories. And the first one is going to be Kelly Thalman. Kelly was once a high school dropout, now a graduate student and mom of four. She has a passion for education and advocating for education for all. She's a full-time employee at Oakland Community College in the admissions department and a proud recipient of Michigan Reconnect. Kelly, we will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for having me here today to speak to you. In my bio, it mentioned that I was a high school dropout. So let's start there. I dropped out of high school when I was about a junior in high school, and I had no real drive, no real passion to remain in school, no reason to stay in school. So I dropped out. I went back to high school and I graduated from an alternative high school a full year after I was supposed to graduate initially. And then, like most people do, I kind of just had no direction, no real plan. So I went to the local community college, Oakland Community College, where I now work. And I dropped out of that after a first semester as well. I had a 0.0 GPA, and I just could never get over the fear of going into a college class. I used to drive to the campus and I would sit in my car in the parking structure and never quite get into the building. So I failed at that. I dropped out. A few months passed and I met my husband, and we started a relationship. We got married. We have, as you can see in this photo, four beautiful, beautiful, beautiful children that I live for. And when my youngest, my son, was about 6 months old, I want to say maybe closer to 9, between 6 and 9 months, I decided I needed to do something more. So I went back to OCC, to Oakland Community College, and I took one class at a time. I was a full-time mom. My husband travels for his job, so he was not in the States. I used to have my mother come over. I took a night class at a campus that was 30 minutes from my house. So my mother would come over after her day job and stay with my children as I took one single class at a time. Fast forward, and one of my children had some medical issues and got diagnosed with a few things. So I dropped out again because I needed to be mom. Fast forward a little bit after we got that resolved, and we came into a pandemic. And I decided, well, if we're all going to be at home and we're all going to be on our computers, I might as well go back to school and finally do this thing for myself. So I went back to school in 2020, in the fall of 2020, online, like most of us did. And that's when I learned about Michigan Reconnect. I applied to be a student employee at Oakland Community College and found out through that plan that I was doing that they had Michigan Reconnect. And I knew nothing about it. I totally thought it was a scam, that you were going to give your social security number to somebody and then, owe all this money. But it wasn't. It worked beautifully. And I graduated Oakland Community College in 2022 with 2 associate's degrees. Michigan Reconnect paid for one of those. And I loved what I was doing, working with students so much. And I loved the experience of it as I was a student employee working with the admissions team, that they actually created a position for me in the admissions department at Oakland Community College. And I was hired there before I graduated with my associate's degree. And I get to spend my days speaking on behalf of Michigan Reconnect. This photo with my family and our wonderful governor was taken this past November as I was a guest to speak in front of the state budget office about the impact that Michigan Reconnect had on my life. Because of Michigan Reconnect, I finished my associate's degree at OCC. Then I moved on to Oakland University, and I will actually be walking with my bachelor's degree at Oakland University this Saturday at 9 a.m. I only had to do 30 credits at Oakland University because I took so many credits for free at OCC and then transferred them to Oakland University. So I spent 1 year, about a year and a half at OU, and I have already begun my graduate program in education counseling so that I can continue to spread how much Reconnect has changed my life and how much I love it and how much I want everyone else to have these same feelings of success and prosperity that I'm able to have because I looked into this program that at first I thought was a scam, and then I found out was actually the most amazing thing that could have ever happened to me. I will graduate with my master's in education counseling in 2027. And after that, I plan to probably, hopefully, maybe get a job working with the state and continuing supporting students the best I can, because after watching myself go through this and being part of somebody's I now have a high schooler who's a senior who's she's dual enrolled. So she'll graduate with her associates this year when she graduates with her high school diploma. So the only reason that she did that was because she saw me go to college. She decided that if I can go to college as a mom, full-time mom, and now full-time employee, and still get good grades and still be the first person in my family to complete a higher education degree, she gave herself the pep talk to register for classes and will also have her associate's degree because of what I was able to show my children. And I'm sorry, I get emotional when I talk about my children. My other daughter, my next oldest daughter, is a freshman in high school, and she, because of how much we talk about education and because they've seen me graduate and they'll see me graduate this weekend, she has ambitions to go to University of Michigan, which I never thought in a million years somebody in my family would do that. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, I'm first in family to complete a degree of any kind, including my in-laws and my husband. And I am now working on my third degree, and it all started with Michigan Reconnect.
Kelly, thank you so much. That was so incredibly inspiring. We really appreciate you sharing your story today.
Thank you
And
so much for
now,
having me.
thank you. And now we want to turn it over to Tristan Bernan. And Tristan says he is 27. He's a 27-year-old artist, first generation college student from Traverse City. And his dream is to be in the Museum of Modern Art someday. Tristan, we turn it over to you now to share your story.
Hello. Yes, I am a first generation college student. I had have a single mother who raised me the best she could, working sometimes upwards of, two to three jobs. My other siblings either have, three, four kids, or are also in college. My brother, he is going to NMC as well. I have a lot of dreams. I'm also legally disabled. I have a neurological disorder, and I've had a lot of challenges in terms of education. I did not finish high school. I was in a very toxic and abusive relationship at that time, and dropped out and had to get my GED. And it was difficult. I feel like college is a little bit easier than the GED somehow. But I have a 4.0 now. I've had a 4.0 since I started. I pushed myself a lot. I want to be everything that my mom didn't get to be because she had to raise me. And I have a 4-year-old, sorry, 5. I can't believe he turned 5 in September. Time really flies. But I also want to be able to provide the same kind of thing for my son. And thankfully, having a program like Reconnect has made that possibility available to me. And unfortunately, Kendall does not take Reconnect, so I will have to get a full ride scholarship. But I believe that will be a possibility for me given my grades and my talent. I've learned a lot about school so far. Time management. I know what burnout feels like now. I thought I did before, but not so much. Not as not second semester burnout seems kind of early, but I do try to maintain, a certain standard of excellence. I have received a few other scholarships to go to college, which I'm grateful for all of them, for Reconnect and the other scholarships that I've received, because without them, I would not be able to do this. Like, I can't afford pretty much anything, being on disability and only being able to work weekends. And having my son like full time and then going to classes, 4 days a week, and it's going to turn into 5. So that's going to be really, really interesting for me. But I'm ready for the challenge. I accept the challenge with open arms, as scary as it may be. But it's really great to be here. Thank you for having me here. And I think that my time is almost up. So I don't know what to say in closing. I thought about preparing a speech, but I felt like I'd be really awkward giving a speech either way. But yeah, we're here. We're here now. And I'm glad to be here, It's been a very big journey overall.
Thank you, Tristan. We really appreciate you sharing with us today. This has been absolutely amazing. I did want to say with Michigan Reconnect to date, we have over 200,000 applications and almost 60,000 individuals enrolled at a community college across the state. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm hoping some of you that have attended this webinar today are thinking about your next steps in your journey, if for an associate's and or certificated program. And so with that, Patrick, I will turn it back over to you, and then we can open it up for Q&A.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you once again to Kelly and Tristan, who we should mention are both, since they're both enrolled right now, are doing final exams this week with their respective programs and institutions. So just shows the caliber of people that they are and the character that they have, that they're so hardworking and dedicated to their education. Erica, do you want to see if there's any questions or anything that we need to capture before we go today?
Sure. And yeah, I just want to echo again, thank you so much to Kelly and Tristan for sharing your stories, as well as, the information from the other presenters. But, especially to Kelly and Tristan, I think, you're the reason why we all do this work. And so it's so encouraging to hear your stories, and just congratulations. And I know that you've inspired so many people today. So, and on top of all of the congratulations and thank yous, to Kelly and Tristan, I think that most of the questions have been answered. The only two that I saw, and in case I missed a response, I know there was a question earlier on about, from Carrie Heiner, about how many credits are required to be full-time to meet that definition in a summer semester or term. So I wanted to clarify if that question was answered, and I believe that was that for Steve or Michelle?
Or was that for where it's 12 credits? If it's for Reconnect, it's 12 credits for the academic year.
Okay.
They have to complete.
And for achievement, you have to be enrolled in 12 credits per semester in order to access that program.
Okay, so that would be the same for the summer semester, Steve?
That's correct.
Okay. So hopefully that answers your question, Carrie, there. And there was the other question I saw I didn't see a response to was from Tamika. Can you be in a four-year college and still use funds for trades? I believe that was a question for you, Steve.
Yeah, I think you theoretically could. You would just have to coordinate with our offices. You can only receive funding at one institution at a time. So what would it have to be is like if you were doing maybe fall, spring, doing your maybe like your college or university track, and then maybe in the summer you wanted to do one of the trades, we could look at maybe shifting it for that semester. Yeah.
Great, that's very helpful. I think from what I could see, there were no other questions that did not have a response. If anyone would like to at this point, go off mute or ask a question.
We had a question. Is it really 12 credits per academic year?
For Michigan Reconnect.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay.
And Erica, I did put the toolkit, the link to the toolkit in the chat for the individuals who asked for it.
Great, thank you, Michelle. Okay. And we do still have time, so we don't want to rush anyone, but at the same point, we don't want to keep you. But if there are any other questions, please feel free to ask those while you have all these experts at your disposal.
I have a flyer. I didn't hear you guys talk about it, but do you guys have any information about the retired educator FAFSA specialist? Do y'all know anything about that?
So Patrick.
Sure, yes. Thank you for that question. So in addition to the wonderful navigators that we have available through the Office of 60 by 30, we also have a program called the Retired Educator FAFSA Specialist. So these are retired educators that are available either in person or online to help any student with the Michigan Reconnect application, as well as completing the FAFSA. They can offer individual support. They could come to a program. They could work with someone individually, virtually to do that. Or they, like I said, could come to your program. I can put a link to that website in the chat so that you can find who your refs are. The refs work very much hand in hand with our navigators offered by the 60 by 30 office. So they can be a great resource to anyone, and we encourage all adult learners to take advantage of the navigator resources that Michelle talked about today regarding Michigan Reconnect and the Retired Educator FAFSA Specialist. Right now, the refs, the Retired Educator FAFSA Specialists, are prioritizing ages 21 through 24, but certainly can point you in the direction of a navigator or other resources too if they're if you're above or below that age demographic as well. So I'll put that link to the refs in the chat as well. Thank you for that question.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was saying, probably can't see me, but I met you at the McKay conference a couple weeks. So I'm like, oh my God, I didn't hear you guys mention that, and I wanted to just have a more thorough explanation of it for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So nice to see you again.
Hi, Erica. This is Alicia. How are you?
Great, Alicia. How are you?
Doing wonderful. I do have a question. I asked in chat, but I'm not sure if I'm totally clear on what the response is. So when you have adult learners who may have had some college some years ago, and they're not sure if they have enough credits, to qualify for a for an associate degree. But say if they do, is there any program or resource for that student that is older than 25? They have some college under their belt, and is there any program for them to go back to school?
So yes, that would be Michigan Reconnect. Michigan Reconnect is 25 and up. So 25 to 64, anyone can utilize Michigan Reconnect, especially folks with some college, no degree.
But what about for a bachelor? Say if they find they have enough credits for an associate's, but they need a bachelor's. Is there anything for beyond an associate's
Not
available?
for us right now, not for
Okay,
Michigan Reconnect. No,
okay, okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ms. Adams. I went to find out in reference to programs or new AP curriculums to come into play for the trades. Is there avenue for service providers to uh, facilitate that type of thing?
Are you speaking of getting like some type of certification if you don't have an associate's or a bachelor's?
Providing the certification uh, to move forward in upskilling for a health industry product.
So if you're attending a community college, you you can utilize Michigan Reconnect for certifications. If you don't have an associate's or a bachelor's, so if you're getting certs to upskill or reskill, you can utilize Michigan Reconnect. If right now, if you're 21 to 24 by December 31st and 25 and up, that's just our normal program, our normal age span. So you can utilize Michigan Reconnect.
Yeah, no, I was speaking not as to a student, but as to a provider, uh, and how we can, you know, correlate, collaborate, and become partnerships through.
Oh, I
the Mich-
understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
through the Michigan
Steve,
Connect.
I'll let you take that one, Steve. You might have more
Yeah, for sure. While you guys were talking, I was looking up the steps for a training provider to be considered for the skills portion of our Michigan Achievement Scholarship. I'm going to drop that into the chat right now. What I heard from the coordinator for that part of the program. So, training providers interested in being listed as eligible on our website, they'll contact our office and create some kind of profile between July 1st and July 30th. I am not super well versed in how training providers are added, but if you would like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my email into the chat. And then what I can do is I can put you in touch with Don Florenci in our offices, who is the overseer and the coordinator for the skills portion of the scholarship. So he would be the one to help kind of connect with in terms of getting like a training provider added for students to consider.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. All right. Any other questions or concerns that anyone would like to ask or feedback? We're very grateful to everyone for being here this afternoon, for your participation and for your questions. As you can see, we do have the contact information for each of our presenters here. And we will be sharing out a copy of the recording from today's webinar, as well as a recording from a webinar we did for practitioners in October. So we'll make sure to make that information available to everyone. So are there any other last comments from any of our presenters today? Patrick or Michelle or Steve, do you have anything you want to add?
I would just say, encouraging all adult learners that might be watching or listening or see the recording of this, that there are so many resources in place now. Please ask your questions. Please contact us, and we would like to point you in the right direction of how you might be able to launch into the next part of your educational opportunities. There has been no other time like this in the history of Michigan. And so if you're thinking about this and wondering and considering if there's a place for you, the answer is yes. And if we can help answer any questions, please reach out to us.
And I'll add that kind of to like what Kelly was saying, this almost sounds too good to be true, right? A lot of these programs are like, wow, gift aid, free money. I don't have to come out of pocket or pay for loans, you know, a lot of that gets lost. And like, you have an investment as a student in this too. We're not just saying you can enroll, you get this money and you're good. You have to show up to class. You have to at least maintain a 2.0. Like, you have to actually, you have an investment as a student. So it is free money, it is gift aid, but we're not just going to pay you to sit in class, and just sit there. So you have an investment in this as well. So believe in yourself, you got this. And we're just here to support you with this. So you are investing yourself, your time, your energy into all this as well. So don't think it's just free. I mean, you definitely have a part in this as well as a student.
And I want to say, Michigan Reconnect is here for you. There is no income limit. So by all means, it is open to anyone. Again, 21 and up until December 31st. But as January 1st, 2025, anyone 25 to 64, Michigan Reconnect is here covering your tuition, your mandatory fees, your contact hours, and our navigators are so skilled in finding additional resources and also being there to help you. Once you're on the college campus, they can help advocate for you for that as well, if anything that you find you might need. So we just want to encourage you to think about your next steps in your educational journey. And if there's anything that we can do here at Michigan Reconnect, by all means, please reach out to us and let us know. We are here for you. We're here to support you in whatever that might look like around your education. And thank you all for just giving us the time today to be able to present to you and share these great opportunities.
Yes, thank you all. Before we wrap up, I do see there is still a hand. So Sherry, did you have a question you would like to ask? And feel free to come off mute, Sherry Artist. Sure if you raised your hand, but we can't hear you if you are trying to ask your question. Oh, I think maybe she is all set there. So, okay. With that being said, I just want to thank everyone for their time and for our presenters for sharing your expertise and your knowledge with all of us. And thank you again to Kelly and Tristan for sharing your stories and inspiring all of us. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.